Hey everybody, my name's Emily Barnard. I'm a Perth-based pinup model and makeup artist. Today I'll be going through and showing you one of my favourite quick and easy pinup-y style looks. I'll be going with a more neutral lip than what I would typically do for a full pinup look, but this is something that's quite work appropriate. I'll be going through and showing you some of my tips and tricks for dealing with the combination skin that I currently have. So I tend to get quite oily through here, so through my T-zone, and I'm quite dry through here. Now, I have already prepped my skin this morning, and this afternoon with a little bit of the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Gel Cream, which is a really good drugstore product that you can buy literally anywhere. If you hold out long enough, it is always on sale. Like you can buy it at Woolies like 50% off half the time. So rather than being 30 bucks, it's only like 17. And I'm all about being able to grab a bargain, so it's all about being able to moderate. So what I'm going to go in through first is I'm going to go in with some Inglot eyeshadow keeper. This is one of my favourite ways to do just a quick subtle base. So I'll go through and I'll pop a little bit on my eyes now. And then I'll go through and I'll do the rest of my base. Just because I do find that I like to have this a little bit of time for it to set, and then I'll set it with a powder as well, just because my eyelids do get quite oily as well. So for me to get good longevity out of my eyeshadow, I need to be quite pedantic in the way that I actually do things. Alrighty, so I'll give that a little bit of time to settle. Next thing I'm going to go in with is the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Primer. I like to go in with just, you literally only need like half a pump, like this much, that's it. Anything more than that, you can start getting your foundation to ball up, so just be careful. A little bit is all you need. So I start through my T-zone first and just rub it into the skin. Now the reason that I use this particular primer is that it's quite hydrating. So rather than going and doing two primers and one through here and one through here, I just find it easier to have one that works for as much as what I possibly can, because my skin does get quite dry as well. Particularly because I am not that far out from my surgery, and my skin has gone haywire. Now the next thing that I do is I'm going to use the Innisfree No Sebum mineral powder, and I use this just to go through and set everything, because like I said, I do mainly get oily through here, but I do like to make sure that I have a little bit of leeway with my powders. And I find this helps absorb the oil really well, which makes my foundation last for a really, really long time. Because I'm often doing, 12 or 14 hour days. So I need something that's going to look as flawless for as long as possible if I am going to wear makeup. I'm sure some of you'll know I don't always wear makeup. Like if I'm just running down to the shops or whatever, I literally will like never wear makeup. I will roll out of bed and looking like the cat, what the cat's dragged out. Alrighty. Cool. So that's all of my primary type bits to get my foundation going. Now the next thing that I like to do is I like to just go through and take this shade here over the top of my eyelid, just to set that eyeshadow base like I was telling you before. So I've got the Fairless Cosmetics Fluffy Blending Brush. This is the Vis Art Neutral Mattes palette. I've had mine for years. Mine's really beaten up. They're not cheap. These are about $99. But I honestly, if you can spend the money on good quality products, do it. Like, it makes life so much easier. These are so easy to blend. So I'm just wiping my brush through, and then I'll go through and I'll take it all over the lid. that's that base done. And I'm awful for just trying to use like the steam brush the whole way through. So what I'll do from here is I like to take a slightly darker colour through the crease, just to give me a little bit of definition. Now my favourite shade is for doing this of late has been the Inglot Cosmetics Cross J-Lo eyeshadow in Sienna. So this is my little mega palette. So the colour that I'm talking about is this one here. So I'm just going to go in same brush and just in a V shape through the outer crease, through the outer V and then into the crease. Now the reason that I go through and I do set that eyeshadow base is just so that I do get a little bit of movement, so that it's easy to blend, because you might not always want the colours to look like this intense. But I kind of tend to take the intensity through and then blend it through. Alrighty. Now I'm sure some of you know that I am completely and utterly blind without my glasses. So any photos you see with me without my glasses on, I'm squinting. So I can sometimes need to get a mirror in there to get a little bit closer up to make sure that I'm looking alright. Alrighty. So that's not looking too bad. I'm just going to go through and blend that same colour. Notice how I haven't picked any more shadow, but I'm just using what's already in the brush. Alrighty. Alrighty. So from there, I like to go like a pencil shaped brush. So this one is the Royal and Langnickel Revolution in the BX95. So I'll go through and I'll take that through into a like a taupey brown, and then I'll just take this in through that outer corner for a little bit of definition. Now these are again Visart shadows that I'm using, this particular taupey brown. This is from their Petite Pro palette, number Petite Pro number 3 from memory. I've taken mine out of the packaging just because I like to be able to go through and mix and match, and I have like one mega palette sitting with everything that I'll use on a daily basis. So as you can see, I'm just going through and taking that original fluffy brush through and just blending that eyeshadow colour through. We're not looking too bad. So I'll just go through and take a little bit in through to the inner crease now, just for a little bit more definition. Sorry. Getting in the habit of trying to remember that I have a camera in front of me and also the mirror just to be able to see what I'm doing. Alrighty. So then I'll go through and I'll blend that through a little bit more. Just like light circular motions. May look like I'm being pretty rough, but this is just light, fluffy motions. A good set of brushes does most of the work for you. Alrighty, so that are looking pretty good. I also like to take a little bit of that same colour just under the lash line on the base here. Just for that little bit of definition under the eye. Alrighty. So coming along nicely, so that's like my sort of basic colour that I like. And then from here, the Inglot, because sorry, the Visart Petite Pro and the Rose Edit have a couple of really nice little subtle shimmer colours. Like I said, I've taken mine out, so I don't have the shade names anymore, but I usually will use like a combination of these two in through the inner corner just to give me a little bit of a nice pop of colour. So I'll go in with a nice flat little concealer brush, something like this, just because I like to get in there and pack in that colour, and then go through, and then I'll take a little that blending brush back through again. So this is just to give me that definition. Alrighty. So as you can see, it's a nice subtle colour, like a ballet pink. So you see the difference this sort of colouring makes. Just gives you something that's a little bit extra without going too overboard. It's natural and neutral enough that you can get away with it for work. But if you wanted to, you can go through and you can amp up the colours too. Alrighty. And then from there, I'll also like to take a little bit of like a coppery colour in through this bit before we get into the blended outer edge. So today I'm going to be using the MAC Cosmetics Amber Lines. And again, same brush. And I just like to pat it in through this section here. So now I'll do the same on the other side. Alrighty. So we've got a little pop of colour there. And then what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll blend them. So I'm just going to go through and take that same fluffy blending brush. This is just to make sure I don't have any harsh lines anywhere. Alrighty, so that's it. That's literally all you need for this nice neutral eye look. Now you can just go and put mascara on from here and call it done. Today I'm going to go through and put some winged liner on because I feel like I'm naked if I don't have it on. Most of the time I will be wearing winged liner when I do my own makeup just because that's how I feel most comfortable. And it's something that's stemmed from when I found myself as like a pin-up identity. And that was something not necessarily that came naturally to me, but it was something that allowed me to embrace the skin that I was in as opposed to just struggling through. I was always on the bigger side growing up from like when I was about 10 or 12. I tried everything on my own just to try and lose the weight and to try and maintain my size, but it didn't really happen. And a few years ago I opted to go have a gastric sleeve just to try and get that all sorted for me. So yeah, pin-up was something that I've always loved, and I'm kind of in a little bit of a crossroads at the moment because I do still love pin-up, but I have adapted my style to be a mix of more modern style now, and I also kind of would fall more into the neo pin-up as opposed to pin-up. And the skinnier I get, the more like a drag queen I tend to become too, so this is something that's nice and natural for me without me going too ham and over the top, because I do go over the top quite often as well. Alright, enough of me rabbiting on. So the next thing I'm going to do is the winged liner. So I've got the Maybelline Master Precise All Day Liquid Liner at the moment. This is just one I picked up at the Priceline sale because I killed my old liner, which was the Kat Von D one, I think, or maybe something before that, I don't remember. I tend to like change brands of things that I like as I discover new things, because I do like to discover new brands. So for my winged liner, like my eyes are a little bit hooded. You can't really see it that well in this camera or in this lighting because my house is really yellow, so apologies for that. So I like to go through and take the eyeliner pen itself and take it on an angle and press it down and then drag that in a corner. So by doing that, you've done half the work for you already. And then from there, I'll just take that pen nice and close to my lash line and connect it up. Easy, huh? So then just angle it up on the same angle on the other side. And then go along the lash line to connect it. And that's it. So from here, I'll go through and I'll pop on a liquid mascara. So at the moment, I've got the Kevin Aucoin curling mascara, which is absolutely phenomenal. I got it in the Beauty Lush lucky bag this year. Wasn't sure what to think about it. Was like, please don't like it because it's expensive, but I actually do love it. It gives you nice length and definition without going too over the top. And super black. Nice thin wand. And I'm pretty sure that this one's a tubing mascara, so you got a nice little bit of definition. And then I always take mine in along my bottom lashes too. Previous to this, I was also using the Kat Von D Go Big or Go Home mascara, which is a brilliant mascara. But because I already had this one on hand, I decided to just go through and shop my stash, because I tend to always have like a stash of mascaras floating around, just because, well, makeup artist. It's one of those items that you do need to replace really regularly. They reckon every 3 months, just because it does get so close to your eyes, it does hoard bacteria. And it's a wet product too, so it does hoard bacteria. So the next thing I've got is the, I'm going to go in and do my brows. This is the Revolution Beauty Duo Brow Pencil. This is in the shade Dark Brown. They've only just come to Priceline here in Australia. Really great. This one is $7.50. It's really, really great, and it's got a nice shaped tip on it, so I just like to wiggle it through. Start at the beginning of my brow. So I do actually have like quite a lot of brow, but they can be quite sparse in patches. So then I just go through and follow my brow line. Literally so easy. And I am due to have my brows waxed again because I have Italian genetics, so I get really, really, really hairy really, really quickly. And again. Alrighty. So that's the brow product through, and then on the other end they've just got a spoolie in there, so I'll just go through and brush through my brows. One of the Facebook groups I'm in has asked for some tips and tricks on some contouring as well. I usually use a powder contour, but I'll go through and I'll do my base first and get all that foundation down and conceal under my eyes and everything like that. So as you can see, this is a nice brow shade on me. I've got really dark roots at the moment, just because we are doing a bit of a root fade. when I do see my lovely hairdresser, hair design by Samantha. Just because my hair, because I had the surgery at the end of May and then I've got another lot of surgery coming up, has gone to shit. And my skin goes to shit, my hair goes to shit. It's all going to be really messy for a little while. And I can get, because I do get quite dry and dehydrated, it can really affect my skin. So I've pre-moistened one of the Juno & Co rosé sponges, which is one of my favorites. My current foundation at the moment is the MAC Matchmaster foundation in the shade 1.0. Shout out to my lovely friend Laura Santoro, who is the manager at MAC Morley, who put me onto this one as something that she said would be quite good for me as an oily babe, so cheers for that. Now this foundation does adjust, so it does go up 2 shades, which is great because it goes on looking a little bit light, but it's a nice coverage. It's not too full coverage for me. Now you see what I mean about it being a little bit light, but over the course of the rest of the video you'll see it'll adjust up to my natural shade. So I like to take it down my neckline while I'm doing the bottom of my face. So I'll start in down at the jaw first, and I just use the base of the Juno & Co sponge and just pat it on. I have a tendency to take my foundation over my lips just because I do have quite a pigmented natural lip colour. And that'll help bring out the shade of my lipstick a little bit better, because particularly when I'm wearing colours that are, you know, a little bit brighter or a little bit on the more nudie side, they can need a little bit of extra help. Now I do tend to take the foundation in under my eyes, but then I'll also go back through with the top of the thing with a concealer. Can't even word today, I'm sorry guys. And then I make sure that I get right up to my hairline too, because, you know, like when you see someone who's not got their foundation through all the way, it's really obvious. So I try and make a habit of making sure that I have it all the way through. And this goes from when I was doing my makeup refresher and lessons, airbrushing lessons with Simone Cohen from SC Artistry, of don't leave the ears looking pink and unattended, because they'll stick out like anybody's business when you're taking photos and that sort of thing, and it's kind of something that's really stuck with me. So I'm just going to go through and take a mirror, just see where I'm sitting, just because I am struggling a little bit on actually being able to see today, so apologies again. Alrighty. So I'm not going to full coverage today because I am going to work, so don't want to go too over the top. Now I've been using the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer in the shade Snow for a little while. It is a formula that's quite similar to the Too Faced Shape Tape, and is more readily available. It's like 1.5 times the size of the container of the Shape Tape, so it'll last you a really long time. Like, I've been using this for about 8 or 9 months and I still have a fair bit in there. I will probably pull out the stopper in the next couple of weeks. So then I just go through and take that pointed tip and dip that into the concealer. And then I just get in nice and close and just take that through. So I like to have a little bit of a highlight under my eyes just because it's easier to hide the dark circles that usually peek through, just because I do work shift work, so yay. And then because I have an awful habit of always taking through way too much concealer, I'll just go through and pat through and make sure I've got enough coverage where I have those dark circles. And then other places I like to go through and make sure I get a little bit of extra coverage is just through my nose. And using that lighter shade just highlights where you'd normally have that little bit of a highlight. And as you will have noticed, I tend to take that highlighting shade all the way through. Alrighty, so that's the concealer done. From here, I'll go through to the powder stage, just because I do like the powder as I go through as well. So I will be going through and putting on some of the Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade 010, which is their fair shade, because anything darker than that is hella dark. I'm way too white for that. And yeah, like it looks like 5 shades too dark and not a good time. Alrighty, so I just tip it out into the top of the lid with that same side where I've used that for foundation. So for the concealer is where I go through. Now I just dip that in and take that over the concealer under my eyes, just so I can make sure that's nice and set. And then I literally just powder like my entire nose, and then take it up through my T-zone as well. Anywhere I know I get oily. Alrighty, and I'll leave that on for a hot minute, just while it sets and does its thing. And then I'll go through and I'll dust off the excess powder. Alrighty, and then so from there, just realised I've not pulled out my brush. Alrighty, so this is the Wayne Goss cheek brush. I use this for doing my contouring as well as going through and taking through my bronzer and my blush. I don't like to go too hardcore. The secret is having a good brush, and then you can go through and you can blend it out nice and evenly. If you still think it looks like you've gone a little bit too ham, you can go back through and blend it back out with a sponge. So I'm using the Inglot Cross JLo sculpting powder in the shade Cocoa 06. Literally apply just a little dab and then just follow where your cheekbone is. If you're not sure how to find where the base of your cheek is, fish lips. And then you can find where you need to put that definition through. So I like to not go too hardcore. And then, so from me, I'll go through, because I don't tend to put too much product on, and then I'll just blend it back out a little bit. Alrighty, so for my blush and bronzer duo at the moment, I'm using the NARS Laguna and Orgasm duo. I'm just going to go through and take off that excess powder just before we go in with that. This is just the Real Techniques Point Triple XL brush. I've had this for a little while now. It's one of my favorites. I keep threatening to go get Aubrey one for like when he's dusting talc and stuff as he's making stuff, but haven't quite managed to find another one because they stopped making them. So this is Laguna, so I'll just go through and I'll just dab that brush through again, and then over the top of where the contour is, I'll just blend that, just to give me a little bit of definition through the cheek. I like to take it into my hairline a little bit, so cheekbones for days. Alrighty, and then so I'll go through and I'll take the same brush through again, just dip it into the orgasm and then start from the apples of the cheek and work your way back up. Now, I do tend to go a little bit heavy-handed with this just because I know, because I've been using this particular blush for about 6 or 8 years. Not this actual compact, but like for, like just in general, I've been using it for about 6 years. So I'll go through and I'll go with a slightly heavier hand than what I know I'll need, because I know how it wears. And I know that over time, it does lose its intensity on my skin. Cool. So that's that. And then so from there, what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll take a sponge if I think it looks like it's a little bit too pigmented in one area, and I'll just go dab back over the top. So if you need to go through, and if your powder looks like it's a little bit harsh, you can just blend it back out by going through with the excess product on your sponge. Or you can also go through, if you've applied your foundation with a brush, you can buff it back in as well. And so from here, I'll go through and I'll pop a light powder on. So I've got the MAC Cosmetics Mineralized Skin Finish Natural Powder in the shade Light Plus at the moment, which is a nice all over color for me. So I'll go through and I'll take that same big fluffy blending brush, which has still got a little bit of powder from when I've dusted off the excess before, and just apply that all over. Now, it may look like I'm using a lot of powder, and that's because I am, but I know how my skin reacts and how I need to, how's the best way for me to kind of combat that on my skin so that I get a bit of wear out of it. Alrighty, so that's my base done. For my lipstick today, I'm going to be wearing the Ari Cosmetics Lip Sorcery in the shade Flesh, which is a beautiful pinky nude. Like, honestly, if you don't own it, buy it. If you use the code LMT10, lowercase letters, you will get yourself 10% off on her website, and just tell her that I sent you. Alrighty, so nice neutral lip color for me, which is, you know, again, not something I do often. So nice natural color for me. And then I'll go through and I'll take a little bit of setting spray just so that I make sure that I do get the best wear out of my foundation and my makeup look. So I'm using the Skin Dipnia makeup finishing spray in oil control. So just give it a good shake beforehand, and then I like to spritz it in like a cross motion, just to make sure that all of my face is covered. Cool. So that's my makeup done. That's my natural looking makeup. If you do have any further questions about contouring or about how to apply eyeliner, please feel free to send me a message or pop a comment on the comments. I'll also be putting this one up on YouTube, so if you don't follow me on YouTube already, if you search Emily Barnard, you should be able to find me. I'm not quite at the subscriber limit to have like a dedicated channel name yet, so please subscribe. If you like the video, give me a good thumbs up, because then I'll be able to go through and change my URL to something that's a little bit more easy to find. All right, have a great day, guys. Be good.